What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski and I am back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, guys, I'm bringing you guys a breakdown of the team that I've used in order to beat the NL Training Forest. Now, this is not the initial team that I did use in order to beat the Training Forest, but the other day I was just testing some teams and I really wanted to try timeskip Luffy out against some of the forests. And, as we all know, this guy's an absolute beast, and he actually cleared the NL Forest on my first attempt, so I decided to see if I could do it again and record it for you guys. And, well, funnily enough, here we are, and I actually did end up beating it twice in a row with this exact same team. Now, this team is actually pretty good, however, it would be much, much better if we had the units with lower cooldowns. Obviously, being Sabo, no skill books out for him yet, would help significantly if there were skill books out for him. And also, if he was 6-star plus Sabo, it would help immensely. With Boa, it's actually better to have regular 6-star Boa for this team, just because of the due fact that she heals. So that's actually awesome that we have that Boa, and I don't have her max skill yet, so I definitely need to find out a way to get some Boa skill books, without having to spend too many gems in the farming stages. But anyways, enough about that. Let's actually talk about the team and talk about the enemies that we are going to be facing in this dungeon. So, with this team, you don't need to use any specials up until you're about stage 15. Now, stage 15 is against Ohm, and that's like the first time you're actually going to need a special. Actually, now that I think about it, you probably don't even need to use a special on the Ohm stage either. Probably on the floor 16 against NL is going to be the first time that you use any specials in this dungeon, which is fine. You can use them on any of the lower stages, but of course it is better to save them for when you actually need them. If you can get past certain stages without having to use a special, it is a lot better off for you, as you'll have specials ready later on during the dungeon, as some of the specials are required in order to do certain parts of this dungeon. And the reason why I am making this video in general is because I know a lot of people do struggle with the NL Forest. So not everyone's going to have this exact team, but hopefully you guys can take this information that I am providing to you guys in this video, and you can apply it to some other teams you guys may be able to build on your account. So one major factor about this team that is actually so good, if you saw at the start of the video, you saw the sockets. Now I have level 3 damage reduction, level 5 auto heal. Those are really essential if you want to beat this effectively. Obviously, if you have environmental sockets, then this dungeon is actually super duper easy. But not everyone is going to go out of their way to socket their characters with environmental sockets. So if you have damage reduction at max and auto heal at max, then you're going to have a much easier time of beating this dungeon. Of course, with timeskip Luffy's captain ability, he will also passively reduce damage as well, which does help considerably in some of the different stages of this dungeon as well. Now, with this team in particular, you have so many different ways of getting health back. Obviously, you've got meat orbs like a normal way. You've also got Ivankov, who will provide damage reduction as well as healing you back. And my Ivankov does have max recovery cotton candy, as well as my 6-star Boa does have max recovery candy as well. Obviously, we've got Boa as well, who does provide healing to help me get HP back. And also, the Kuja pirate ship does help with that, as well as the ship special will heal 6,500 damage as well. And then you've also got Golden Pound, which can help with delaying, which can give you some more time to get some meat orbs for your character's crew. So now we arrive on stage 16 here, which is against the mini boss NL. Now this guy here is quite annoying. He does have a debuff protector, and he also will go ahead and paralyze our entire right column for 3 turns. Now this paralysis seems like it is more often than not you're going to get paralyzed, so don't try and plan your teams around this, or don't go ahead and use your burst turn within the first 3 turns, unless if you have a paralyze reducer. But in most cases, you're not going to be bringing a paralyze reducer to a forest. So, in most cases, you're just going to have to wait out this paralysis here. Now, after the paralysis is gone, we want to try and get in close to around about 50 to 40% as possible, because if you get in below 30%, he'll go ahead and deal 10,000 damage to you, and then if you get in below 20%, he will heal all the way back up to 70% of his maximum HP. So you definitely have to take that into consideration when you are doing damage to this guy. I did go ahead and use Int Ivankov special, which will go ahead and help with some recovering of some health, as well as mitigating the damage that he does to us, because he is on a 1-turn cooldown and you cannot delay this guy. So definitely having some damage reducers or a really effective way of healing your HP is really effective in taking on stage 16 NL right here. But what I plan on doing here is, once I'm ready to move on to the next stage, I'm going to go ahead and use one of my timeskip Luffy special, which will make it so for 3 turns I get 4 times attack from that Luffy's captain ability, and with that amount of damage output, I am able to kill off NL on this stage here, and then we'll move on to the next stage on floor 17 with still another turn left on our Luffy's captain ability, or it's actually going to be another 2 turns because there isn't a preemptive attack. So in this stage here, we have all of the Shandian warriors. We're going to go ahead and use Golden Pound Usopp, which will delay them all for 3 turns. Luckily, they don't have a debuff protector or a delay protector. Then we are also going to go ahead and use our other Luffy special, so it'll make it so for the next 2 turns, we're going to have 16 times attack, and then for the turn after that, we're going to have back to 10 times attack for a single turn. So, you know, it's a really good way of using time skip Luffy in Forest, is to use Luffy on 1 turn, kill a stage, and you'll move on to the next stage, and you can use your other Luffy, and then for 1 of your turns, or 1 or 2 of your turns, you're going to have a massive boost of attack, and then you'll go back to 10 times attack. Just time skip Luffy is just an amazing unit overall as a captain, of course, and as I said, we are using Sabo as well to give us a 1.5 times attack boost as well. Now, ideally, you want to try and hit your perfects, but in this case, it didn't really matter at all. Now, in this specific stage, we are going to kill everyone except for Wiper. Now, why we are keeping Wiper alive is because we want to try and stall and get our specials ready for the following rooms. Now, I really stalled a lot longer than I should have because I didn't really use any specials on the turn after this, or the stage after this, really. I did use one of my Luffy specials, I believe, so it isn't really needed to get all your specials back to max, but just to stall as much as you possibly can without taking too much damage, because the room after this is the Garnfor room, and this guy does a lot of damage, and he has a lot of HP as well. So, highly recommend to just stall enough. So, I would stall maybe until, you know, Sabo has about just under 10 turns, I would say. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Just really depends on how your health is traveling. But yeah, definitely just a really good way of stalling with this team is to cycle through your specials of delaying with Usopp. You can heal with Boa, you can heal with Ivankov, you can heal with the ship, and you can also heal with recovery orbs. So that's the best way to use this team, is to cycle through that, through your specials, so you can make sure you get enough health back, especially because of the environmental damage that is doing a lot of damage to your crew. That is the main thing about this forest that really drags a lot of teams down, is the fact that the environmental damage does a ton of damage. It does like 950 damage per unit you bring. So, you know, that's why we would recommend to have damage reduction and auto heal, so that you can mitigate damage done from enemies, and also you can heal back a decent amount of HP every single turn. So anyways, after we do a little bit of stalling, I'll see you guys on stage number 18. So now on stage number 18, we arrive at Garnfor. Now, Garnfor does have a preemptive attack that will go ahead and apply a 3-turn defense boost. Now, I'm not too sure what the actual defense actually is, but that defense is quite considerable. It does lower your damage output by a lot of damage, so you can potentially go ahead and use one of your time skip Luffy specials to make sure that you are doing a ton of damage to this guy, which is not a bad idea, but I just decided to save it for this time. And he will go ahead and change your orbs every 2 turns to G, Bother, Bomb, Tandem, or meat orbs. So you will get on your crew just random orbs of those ones that I just mentioned. Now, in that kind of situation, that's where you want to go ahead and see and hopefully get some recovery orbs and heal back some of the damage that you are going to be taking, because on regular attacks, he will deal 7,900 damage. So obviously with damage reduction sockets, that does help a lot, and auto heal obviously does help as well. And as I said, every 2 turns, you do have a chance to get recovery orbs from him as well. So definitely take those chances when they come up, to pick up as many recovery orbs as you possibly can. Don't get this guy under 20% though when he's about to attack, because if you do, you will automatically die. He does 100,000 damage under 20% when he is on a 1-turn cooldown. So definitely take that into consideration when you are damaging this guy. I'm pretty sure what I do here is I go ahead and use one of my time skip Luffy specials when he's on a 2-turn cooldown and he's really, really close to 20%, and then I end up killing him off when he's like just about to go to a 1-turn cooldown, so I can move on to the next stage. Still have a little bit of boost from Luffy's captain ability, and his special will still be active when we move on to the next stage, and then I can activate my other Luffy when we reach stage 19. So other than that, guys, I will see you guys at stage 19. Now we are on stage 19. Now this stage can be quite tricky for some teams. Now it just has a whole bunch of different characters here. We're going to go ahead, of course, and delay everyone with Golden Pound Usopp. Then we want to go ahead and use our other time skip Luffy special. Now we will still have the other time skip Luffy special active from when we left the Gunfall room. So that is nice. So for this first turn here, we are going to have 16 times attack to our free spirit characters, and we obviously use Sabo special to get as much damage output as possible, and we want to try and kill as many units as we possibly can on turn number 1. Now luckily for us, we did hit all of our perfects, which means on the second turn we do get 2 times attack to our free spirit characters. Now unfortunately I did get quite bad orb luck here, which meant that I wasn't able to take down a rogue in a single turn. Luckily he is on quite a high cooldown after delaying him with Usopp, otherwise we would have been in a little bit of trouble here, because now for the next 3 turns he will go ahead and apply a shield where he takes absolutely no damage, and that does include Wiper himself as well. He takes absolutely no damage for the next 3 turns. Now, Urug will actually do that, I believe, when he's under 50% or under a certain percent, he will go ahead and apply that shield, so you do have to be very, very careful about that, especially if they are on a low turn cooldown, as you will be taking a lot of damage. Now, as I said, luckily enough, he had a 4-turn cooldown, and Wiper did have a 3-turn cooldown, so we are going to have to take a hit from Wiper, which is fine, because Wiper is the person that we are going to be stalling on in this dungeon, on this room here, on room 19. Now, all we really want to do is get our specials somewhat close to max, I guess. We don't really need them to be ready to go by the time we reach the final stage, stage 20. We do not need them ready to go. We will be taking quite a few turns on stage 20 just to do as much chip damage as possible before we do our burst. So you don't have to stall too long on here, but you do have to take a little bit of time to get your specials semi-ready, as you don't really want to be taking too many hits from NL, because NL himself does attack every turn and he does deal a lot of damage, so you do have to be very, very careful about that. But anyways guys, after stalling, I will see you guys at stage number 20. And now we reach the final stage against NL. Now, NL can be quite tricky, although, as long as you do have, as I said before, the appropriate healers or damage reducers, you shouldn't have too many issues with NL. Now, for the first 3 turns of the NL stage, he will have a debuff protector, as well as a defensive shield that will halve any damage that he takes. So, obviously, we are definitely going to wait for those to expire before we go ahead and do our burst turn. But ideally, what we want to do here is get him close to 50% as possible, and then that's when we're going to go ahead and apply all of our specials and do our burst turn. Now, what he will go ahead and do under 50% is he will go ahead and halve our HP and then do his regular attack. So obviously, we do not want that to happen, and he does that every single attack under 50%. So definitely don't get him under 50%. And then under 20%, he pretty much does 100,000 damage and you die. Now, every 3 turns, what he's going to do is he will cancel any special effects that are active on the field, which includes delaying. So if you delay him and he activates that release, he will make sure that he goes back to a 1-turn cooldown. So you do have to be very, very careful about that. When he goes ahead and removes all special effects, he will randomly shuffle your orbs as well. Now, luckily with Timeskip Luffy, with his special, we can apply 3 different colored orbs as matching orbs, so we've got a decently high chance of getting matching orbs for our characters, so that is actually fine. But yeah, we just want to make sure that we activate our burst turn when he activates that special effects cancellation. That is when we want to ideally do our burst turn, because we can delay him with Usopp, which is actually really, really awesome. So we can delay him with Usopp, and if we get him under 50% HP, he won't go ahead and do anything, which is really, really good. He won't do anything unless he will go ahead and cancel all special effects, which means he goes back to a 1-turn cooldown. So ideally, what you want to do is get him close to 50%, activate all your specials, and burst him down in a single turn. That is the most ideal situation against NL. But that is going to conclude today's video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you guys did, make sure to smack the like button down below. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.